Hey, 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 welcome to the trading show, the Zen Lab edition. That's right. What's up, everybody? Zen Master JP. I'm here live from my home studio and looking to trade Bitcoin right now. Live dump and pump. Memorial Day weekend, a lot of volatility. What's up, folks? What's up, folks? Welcome on in. Time to get in the charts. All right, we just had a huge spillover for Bitcoin, okay? Huge spillover, and we just came right back up. Coincidence? No, folks, no coincidence here. What we're witnessing is the reaction to the NASDAQ, okay? The NASDAQ opened, the NASDAQ futures open, even though it's got some weird hours tomorrow, and the NASDAQ is closed for actual trading on Monday for the holiday. Believe, welcome in, Believe. Let me shout out the chat real quick before we really get started. Caked, good to see you. Muhammad, I see you. Legendary God King helping me out. What's going on, brother? We got Phil Shaw, I see you. Phil, what's up, folks? How we feeling about the market? Are y'all scared? Are we scared here, folks? We ain't never scared. Let me get into the charts. Let me get into the charts. All right, 5-minute chart BTC. What a dump and what a pump right back up for Bitcoin. Okay, we're going to have to zoom out and see what's really going on here and also look at liquidity. Let's look at liquidity right now. 5-minute chart. I see some hot liquidity above us. There's close hot liquidity above us, but there's also some hot liquidity much below us. Yeah, around 74,100. Hot liquidity below us. I was almost certain we were going to take that liquidity and then pump it. It looked like they were trying to roll Bitcoin over and then coincide with the NASDAQ open, the NASDAQ futures open, and then see what happens. So that's interesting that it kind of rolled over here, faded this liquidity so far, but is this just high volatility and it goes and take down that liquidity? Very possible. Let me look at the 4-hour liquidity real quick, which usually has it to the upside. Yeah, so I'm still kind of looking at this idea that Bitcoin could take 84,000. Now, there's a lot going on in the world, right? And a lot going on in geopolitics, and we might have an Iran deal. Let me see who we got here. Maliki, is it Maliki? Mr. Pabs, welcome in, everybody. What coins are y'all looking at? What do y'all want me to look at, okay? Of course, we'll look at Bitcoin, but is there any altcoins that don't care that Bitcoin is doing what it's doing currently? Okay. So I'm going to go to a top down on Bitcoin. We got to frame a bias here. Let's create a bias live. And my bias is money right now. My bias is gains. So I don't care which way Bitcoin wants to go. I really just want to see how we can take advantage of it. Ronald Kumar, hello, everybody, welcome in. Everybody, happy Memorial Day weekend. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Good to have you here. Once again, I'm home at the Zen Lab. All right, scouting gains for you. Lil Rich, what's going on? Welcome in, welcome in. All right, let's get back into those charts here. Let's look at that daily time frame on Bitcoin. Let's kind of get rid of some indicators here. Let's get rid of the DBSI. Why is there a green dot on the daily right now? So you want me to be bearish, but we got a green dot on the daily right now, this current candle? Muhammad, you're funny. We got a green dot, folks, and that's a nice wick down. We're trying to reclaim the 50 MA on the daily. Okay, that's a big deal. God King, how's that casino looking? I wish I can cut to you right now. The daily, we got a green dot. That's interesting. That looks kind of like a bottom to me, especially if I look at the stochastic RSI, nice and reset. We had a big dump. It's curving up now, as well as the RSI curving up. So what's really happening here? Is this a daily bottom? Could this be shoulder, head, and then give you a right shoulder, and we do make it to 85K? I don't think that has to happen, but just doing a daily candle analysis, that's a pretty strong buy right there. That's a pretty strong buy and bullish support. We're kind of teetering right on that 50 MA. It's very important. If we lose it, we go much lower. So the daily time frame shows some hope of a bounce here. Let's go to some smaller time frames. Let's go to the 8-hour bounce off the 200 MA, my yellow line at 74,458. That's a nice bounce too. Now I got to keep it real. It's a pretty strong bearish trend still, right? It's in like retracement and sell program right now. Rejected from the 21 MA there, bounce from the 200. Rejection from the 21. It tried with this wick up, but look at this current candle fighting back. So trading is a lot like sports here, folks. Okay, you have the bulls and the bears, and there's a constant battle for Bitcoin, and it's not just a battle. Also, we got to realize that all of these price levels are basically prices that people are willing to pay for Bitcoins. Is a bunch of different markets, auction market theory. Anybody ever heard of that? Auction market theory. I really like it. It makes a lot of sense. This liquidity is real. Demand is real. Speaking of demand, I have to look at the casino, but 8-hour, that's a bounce. But once again, bearish trend. Could it be rejection? It could be. This candle could just be faking you out. There's an hour and 35 minutes left in it. This could be resistance, could be the perfect short point. But I don't know. The daily may want to kind of take control here. All right, let's get back into the charts and into the chat. Jay Violet, good to see you. Morning from Aussie land. Who else we got here? Dave Hagen. He says, but the 200 SMA on the daily is short of the, sorry, it's hard for me to see. Short of the ceiling on that daily dot. Okay. Appreciate your input. We got a lot of people dropping in here. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Once again, we don't usually do this. Doing something different here. A weekend stream while we have action on Bitcoin. Once again, 8-hour at resistance, but showing some strength a little bit here, folks. Let's go to a 4-hour. 4-hour time frame, Bitcoin. 4-hour looks a lot more bearish. You see how overbought it is, the stochastic RSI? Very overbought at resistance once again. Could be a good dump zone. Not too sure yet. We have to see. Yeah, red money flow. That's a bearish trend, folks. Once again, it's in a retracement zone right now, right? Bitcoin is retracing down. We're at resistance on the 4-hour. The current candle looks a bit bullish, but you have to fight against this red candle. So for me, when I'm looking at actual candles and not just structure, I put a lot of emphasis on like engulfing candles. Like, for example, this candle right here, engulfing, it has a lot of influence on price. So that's why price kind of came down so hard. This one was lackluster. It's bullish. It barely has a wick, but it barely claimed 50% of that red candle. This current candle, look at this wick, buy pressure all down here around 76,200, 76,100. A lot of buy pressure pushing Bitcoin up right now to resistance once again. But is this just, will we curve over and really dump it? You know what I mean? Let me get back into this chat. Put some coins out there that you want me to look at to scalp. And I'm going to rearrange this chat so I can see you better here. That's a lot better. Wow. That's a lot better. How is money flow moving? Alessus. I'm sorry, butchering your name. Money flow, very red on the 4-hour time frame. Got to tell you, as far as on the daily, it's still green, but you see it trending out. Yeah, trending out there. Let's go to some smaller time frames. The smaller time frames are very important right now because of the dump. Bitcoin is just completely, utterly dumping on the small time frames, but got a quick wick up. So let's get back to it here. So this is a 1 hour head and shoulders. All right. Is that not a head and shoulders right there? All right, let me fix this right here. 1 second, folks. I like that. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Okay, there we go. A little adjustment to the Zen Lab here. I like that. Okay, that kind of looks like a head and shoulder there, folks. I got to keep it real. That looks like a head and shoulders. Do you get rejected and then actually dump? Let's see. Let's look at some smaller time frames. The stochastic is a reset on that 1 hour, though. Let's go to the 15-minute. All right, 15. That is a huge candle. Look how big this candle is on a 15-minute. It just completely invalidated that bear flag that was rolling over. Like that's something that's like a news event or like, you know, some type of like something happening in the market. And we know what happened. What time was that? That was exactly 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is when the NASDAQ futures open. And we need to look at the NASDAQ as well. So let me hurry up with this Bitcoin analysis so we can look at the NASDAQ, see what it's doing and how it's influencing Bitcoin. But that's a pretty big candle. Remember when I said, when I look at these candles, I really pay attention to what's engulfing what? This huge green candle has engulfed this entire move. So, you know, that is strong influence. But once again, you're at resistance. This is where you really got to make something happen. But 15-minute, it did bounce from the 200. I'm still seeing that big old head and shoulder, though. That looks a bit bearish, even with the huge, you know, green engulfer there. 5-minute time frame. 5-minute. Look at that perfect bear flag, dumped. You could have made money off of it. It's not the full measured move. Came back up, V-shaped recovery, got above the 200. That's some strength there, you know, on a small time frame. Coming back above the 200 on the 5-minute. And let's see what the 1 minute is doing. Jay Violet, shout out to you. Yep, futures is open. That's exactly what happened at that time. That looks like a double top right now, but it's still at the same time somewhat of a Sammy special. And this is interesting. Let me take off market cipher A. This is interesting right here because, like, just you see this previous range, you dump. We pumped up, completely bypassed that previous range, you know, got past it with strength and now kind of consolidating here. That's a bull flag. It's a double top and a bull flag, right? Bearish pattern within bullish structure. But bullish consolidation nonetheless, very tradable there. I do want to look at the NASDAQ though. We got to look at the NASDAQ, see what's going on. This is 1 minute. That is a bull flag with low stochastics, with even slight bullish divergence. So this should pump actually. And there it is. It's pumping. Trade alert. No, but that looks like that's going to pump right there. I got to, you know, yeah, for sure. Let's look at the NASDAQ. I think I have it here. NASDAQ 5-minute time frame. Okay, so this is how the NASDAQ opened. And this is how it closed right here. This was Friday, 1:55 p.m. right here. The futures closed. It closed in this downward kind of channel here. Trending down on the close on Friday. We have our gap here, our weekend gap, and it just opened much higher, pretty much from where it dumped from. And then it starts going just consolidating up somewhat of a, rising wedge, right? Rising wedge, breakout parabolic, or dump. Yeah, these usually dump, but this is breaking out. So that tells me that the NASDAQ really wants to make a move. If the NASDAQ make a move, Bitcoin usually makes a move. They're part of the same asset class, right? God King says he's longed it on breakout. Okay, get your money. Shout out to, what's that? King Anon, futures open. Yup. Says volume is pretty low. Who else we got in the chat? And also, I got a question for you guys. Out of everybody we have here, how would you rank like your trader experience and skill level? Yeah, what's your trader skill level? Are you like from 1 to 10? Like 1 being very beginner, 5 being like intermediate, and 10 being expert? Just put it in the chat. Rank your trader skill. I want to know who we're working with here. Okay. And feel free to, big yourself up. But be honest. What's your trader skill? All right. NASDAQ, 1 minute. Yeah, same thing. Broke out of that, rising wedge, parabolic break. Pretty nice. Making moves. I'm going to look at gold, and I got to see what oil is doing if I can. All right, here's gold. Gold is breaking out. Once again, gold is like moving with Bitcoin now. No longer, a safe haven, risk off asset. Oh, God King, keeping it real. 3 out of 10. I'm seeing 0, 6s, 5, 9. What are our true skills? Greg is a 9. Greg, what's going on? Good to see you. How you doing, man? I'm at the Zen Lab. We're doing holiday weekend trading. Trying to scalp this move Bitcoin is doing. Let's see. I'm seeing 5, 7s. What's your trader skill? From 1 to 7. 5 being intermediate. All right. Gold is pumping. We know that. What is oil doing? Oil appears to be dumping. Yeah. Open lower. Open lower. Bear flagging. Oil dumping. Is this peace deal for real? And will it pump us? I'm seeing some movement here, folks. Bitcoin still in the 1 minute bull flag, but it does have a little double top in it. Yeah, a little double top in it. Maybe even some slight bear div. No, not really. Maybe a different class of bear div here. Yeah, you see like the double top kind of vibe here. Not perfect. Maybe even a descending triangle. But I'll call it still bullish consolidation above the 200. Trying to find support with the 21. It's trying. It looks shaky. I'll tell you this. If it wasn't for the NASDAQ, I don't think Bitcoin would be doing this right now. Anybody see any opportunity in any altcoins right now? Any altcoin projects near hype? I need you guys to be my foot soldiers out here. Find the trades, find the setups, and I'll find, I'll tell you if it's high probability and we'll hop into one. I'm going to look at Solana. I want to look at hype. I want to look at near. I want to see what's going on. That's a bull flag. That's a bull flag right there. Same thing on Solana. Bull flag could be a fallen wedge. Fallen channel breaks up. Potential entry for Solana on the 1 minute. But once again, what's the macro move? Will this just dump us? I think what happens with the NASDAQ, me personally, is more important than what we think may happen with Bitcoin. We're part of a bigger thing now, a bigger, finance, whatever you want to call it. We're the same thing as the NASDAQ now. We're a risk on asset that people are speculating on, due to war, due to sentiment, whatever, economy. And I think that the NASDAQ has such a bigger market cap that is influencing Bitcoin. And we're oftentimes aligned. Even when we want to dump, the NASDAQ may just, help us avoid, very low liquidity levels like it did recently. Morpho and Render. Okay, we'll definitely look at that. Let's look at Morpho. It's been a long time. Morpho, USDT. All right, look at Morpho. I don't like the way these candles look. They're a little bit like those low volume candles. Let me see if I can find it on a better exchange. There we go. Of course, Binance. All right, Morpho on the 15-minute. What a move. Morpho has been running like since earlier. Okay, but now you got some volatility, right? You're now losing the trend. So, you know, this looks a little bit bearish to me right here. It looks like this is about to lose the trend, or it could just be a retracement, right? Either way, it's a micro. Looks like a micro trend reversal on Morpho right now. Let me go to some higher time frames. A red dot on the 1 hour. Stokes almost reset though. 30-minute Stokes are reset. Could give you a bounce, but you got to get back above that 21 MA right there. Let me get to a big time frame. Yeah, look at that 4 hour. That's a short. It's a bullish trend. Don't get me wrong. It's very bullish. You see the trend, but you know, that's a bearish engulfing candle coming in. You got a red dot. Stokes completely overbought. That looks like a short on Morpho to me. Not to say that I'm bearish on Morpho. And let me draw a fib. I'm not bearish on Morpho, but on the scalp, it looks like you can come down to a golden pocket healthy. You know, around there, around $2.09, something like that. Or it could just not care and keep going up. Don't, you know, I'm not a fortune teller here. But that looks like Morpho can go down on, you know, the medium time frame, 4 hour. Now the 1 minute, bring in my moving averages, please. It looks like it's trending down. I do see some inverted head and shoulders potentially forming here. Shoulder, head, right shoulder right there, right? Kind of spilling over though right now. Kind of spilling over. Bearish on the micro trend for Morpho. Bullish on the macro trend. Yeah. What else are we looking at? Back in the chat, who we got? Shout out to Digital Natives. I see you. ETH moves with more accuracy. I feel less noise. Okay. Render. We're supposed to look at Render. I got you. Let's get into Render. Render protocol. Pretty bullish on the daily, gotta say. But let's go to 4 hour. You got a nice V for volatility is what I call this. V for volatility. That's usually pretty bullish. You know, when you dump that hard and you come right back up, it gets kind of bullish. Yeah. High Stokes still on that 4 hour, 15-minute. Okay. Inverse head and shoulder right there above the 200. Moving average is getting tight, ready to make a move either way. And let's get to the 5-minute time frame. High volatility. Starting to get a little bit of a bull flag though right there. Small time frame, 1 minute. You got above it with strength. Look at that inverse head and shoulder. Perfect play out right there. Got you up here. Brought you to the 200. You came up with strength and purpose. Strength and purpose there. You got above, broke above the moving averages. You're now in a micro downtrend just for the retracement. Looks like a bull flag. Potential entry for Render if you wanted to trade this bullishly. Yeah, I can see that for sure happening. Only thing I'll say is that was a big move. You know, you could, even a 50% retracement will be like way down here below the 200, 1.963. You kind of want to stay above that. Or you could measure from the actual breakout, like breakout from the head and shoulder right there. That's closer to the 200 and probably more likely that it may come down and touch right here. Maybe you get a bounce for a continued bullish move. I think almost everything is high risk on a holiday weekend Sunday, where we're pretty much a slave to the NASDAQ futures, which happen to be open. Let's see what they're doing again. Okay, they pumped and have a bull flag here. That's a mini bull flag on the 1 minute for the NASDAQ. So it looks like it wants to continue to pump, which most likely will pump Bitcoin. Oh, wow. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin really retraced. Oh, look at that green dot though on the 1 minute, 200 bounce. That's an even better entry. If you wanted to scalp, long, I feel like I should scalp this just for fun. NASDAQ is bullish. Bitcoin is reset. Here we go. All right. First trade alert. All right. And if I lose, who cares? So be it. I'm going to go ahead and trade this on a 1 minute time frame. I'm going to put my entry right here, right at the 200. I'm going to put a stop loss down here. We're going to bring it on up. Highly speculative on a holiday weekend. NASDAQ futures open higher. Now, even if this scalp plays out, I would say, man, be careful. Like, take profit. Don't look for the bigger move. It could come, but I wouldn't look for the bigger move today. So entry now, folks. Trade alert. Stop loss 76,400. Take profit 77,461. Okay, Bitcoin scalp, high risk scalp long. Based on nothing but the fact that Bitcoin did defy this bearish move and made a bull flag, while the NASDAQ is looking to get a bit bullish here, at least temporarily. Scalp. This is a scalp trade. Let's go to Bitcoin. Let's put this trade in. I hope you guys already got in, and we'll check on a casino. Not financial advice, okay? You don't have to take this trade. Only take it if you agree with it. All right, 76,000. I'm doing a 1 minute time frame. Scalpelino. 76,400 stop loss. And take profit was where? 77,458. Okay. Risk reward ratio. Let's get that going. Yeah, my entry kind of is a bit late here. I gave you guys a better entry than me. Yeah. But I'm going to get in the trade. Mark it in. All right, I'm in the trade on a 1 minute time frame. Let's see if the NASDAQ keeps pumping or if it dumps Bitcoin or if oil starts to run. You see the NASDAQ being bullish here. Now, if I had to predict, and I don't like making predictions, I would say that the NASDAQ pumps up pretty high. Maybe even puts in a new all-time high here. Maybe it goes to 29.9 or something like that, and a continued rising channel, parabolic, and then it dumps really hard all the way back to the open or the close on Friday. Yeah, I would say it pumps out the gate, we dump, it goes all the way back down to the close, and then it rips again. Eventually. When, I don't know, but I can see the NASDAQ whipsawing us up and down, and look at it pumping right now, as well as Bitcoin. We're in the money. We're in the money, folks. I could damn near put my stop loss in the break even already. Yeah, we're in the money. Nice. Live trades. Anybody in any trades right now? I'm going to look at Solana and SWE and, Render. Excuse me, not Render. Got to look at Hyperliquid. And what else has been running lately? Look at this. Look at this inverse head and shoulder on Solana. This is another trade right here. This is a 5 minute time frame. High risk, Stokes high, money flow, red. But if Bitcoin runs a Solana as a proxy of Bitcoin, should get a move. All right, anybody want to take this Solana trade? Stop loss at 83.61, playing the inverse head and shoulder. It's a bit ugly, but it's there. You see it. Let's get a better risk reward ratio here. Let's zoom out. Damn, can Solana get back to 90? See, I really want this to be a scalp, but you kind of need a deep stop loss in this market. Yeah, that makes it a 2.66 risk reward ratio, just shy of a 3. Could we take Solana? Could we swing it and take Solana to 91? Imagine that move, 85 to 91. It could do it. What's the measurement of that? It's like 7%. Solana can definitely pump 7% for a nearly a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio now. Okay, new trade alert, folks. New trade alert. Solana 15-minute scalp entry now. This is a long scalp. Stop loss at 83.53. Take profit at 91.21. High risk holiday weekend, but Bitcoin is being a bit feisty, and you got the Nasdaq making moves for now to the upside. Okay, Bitcoin also has that daily green dot. We can't forget that. So I'm gonna go ahead and maybe put in this Solana trade. Let's do it. I'm gonna put this into like break even already because we got a big pump. So at worst case, this just takes me out, at break even. Ooh. On the Bitcoin trade. I'm up $167 already on Bitcoin. I'm looking to do the same on Solana. Once again, stop loss 83.59. And look at Bitcoin making moves. May stop me out right now. We'll see. Solana. I'd way rather get stopped out than lose a lot of money. All right, I'm gonna put in my stop loss. 83.53 stop loss on Solana. High risk scalp long because of this inverted head and shoulder and the Nasdaq making micro bullish moves. Let's call it micro bullish. We'll take it to like $91. Take profit on Solana. Let's risk some money now. Let's see. I'm gonna risk like $500. 500 and make $2,000. Let's go. I like those odds. All right, I'm in this Solana trade. Once again, final time calling it out. Trade alert on Solana. This is not financial advice. If you only get in the trade if you agree with the TA, and you're willing to lose whatever your stop loss is. I'm willing to lose it. So entry now, scalp long Solana, stop loss 83.53, take profit 91 on Solana. We'll see. If we're wrong, if I'm wrong, I'll get stopped out, and I'm okay with that. Let me go to the Nasdaq again, see what's going on. Nasdaq still going parabolic. The Nasdaq may be responding or reacting to the Iran potential deal. All we're hearing is rumors right now, but buy the rumors, sell the news, right? All we're hearing are rumors about Iran and maybe giving up their enriched uranium, giving up on the nuclear ambitions. Shout out to Digi Gaming Pro. Bro, what's the name of that indicator that looks like RSI? It looks like RSI. Is it this one right here you're talking about? The market cipher B? Yeah, maybe he's talking about that. That's market cipher B. And then I have my stochastic and my RSI combined here. Okay. Yeah, but you got a parabolic move up. I don't think this is sustainable. I'll be very clear. I do not think this current move on the NASDAQ is sustainable, but it may be just enough and all we need to get a pump, a little scalp pump for Bitcoin and some alts. So let's look at some other charts here. Yeah, that usually breaks down. That breaks down or goes parabolic. Right now it's choosing the parabolic route, but I expect that at some point to break down. Let's get back to Bitcoin for a moment, see what it's doing. Oh, wow, look at that. That's the entry I gave you folks. If you happen to take in that trade, that's a nice entry there. Nice. Ooh, look at the volume. You had a nice move up with pretty strong volume. You're now bull flagging. My only concern is the high volatility. I can totally see Bitcoin just you're just doing all of that, stop everybody out. You want to high leverage, trade the market, they will punish you. But, according to TA, this thing is, that's a breakout of the falling wedge. You now have a bull flag, a mini bull flag, and it could even be somewhat of a cup and handle if you look at it that way. Cup and handle. You do have a red dot. Stochastic and RSI pointing down on Bitcoin right now because of this mini retracement. Can we find support at the 50? That's also a bullish cross right there. The 50 crossing the 21. I'm seeing some interesting moves here from Bitcoin. Let's get back to liquidity. Let me get back to the 5-minute time frame because I need right now liquidity. Who's in the chat? Make some noise. How y'all doing? How's your weekend? Happy Memorial Day weekend if you're from the United States, and if you're from around the world, I'm glad you could be here. Sin City Crypto live trading on the weekend here. 5-minute. Look at that bright red liquidity above us. 77,800. What does that line up on my trade? 77,800. That will be up here, way up there. Okay. And by the way, I think I got stopped out of the Bitcoin trade. One of them. Yeah, I got stopped out at break even on Bitcoin. Solana's kind of just hanging out right now. Let's get back to the NASDAQ. Will it reject? There's some bear div there. This could very well reject. We got to start looking at some short plays here as well. That's a higher high and a technical higher low on the RSI here. It's the blue line. They're using the blue line on the stochastic RSI. Sometimes it's hard to see because of the orange line, but if you look at the blue, it's actually a lower high. So very technical, slight bearish divergence on the NASDAQ right now. Let's see. Believe said, let's check near. I got you. Starfire Crypto. Sup, fam? Happy Sunday. French Toaster. Welcome in. Welcome in. Glad you could join us. All right. We are trading Bitcoin. I should have had that stop. I should have had that deeper stop loss. I was a little shook on that Bitcoin trade. I didn't want to lose no big money here. But Bitcoin looked like it might still get a move from the NASDAQ here. I got stopped out at break even. Let me see something here. Near. Is it AI video 8252? That's literally your name. Hello, welcome. Okay, near protocol. Let's see what's going on right now, medium and small time frames. Okay, you got somewhat of a rising channel here. I see the little slanted double bottom. That looks like an imperfect triple top to me right there. Kind of looks like cat ears a bit, right? A little bit of cat ears, a little bit right there. Although I usually like to see them a little bit more drawn out. Let's look at some smaller time frames. 5-minute. Yeah, a bit range bound here, kind of teetering on the 200 and just about to lose it or bounce. Could be another double bottom right there. Another double bottom. You do have the green dot. Stokes starting to curve a bit. Yeah, very range bound right there. 3 minute looks a little bit more bearish. You did lose the 200 to 21 and the 50 below all the moving averages and bear flagging technically, right? A little bit of the bear flag right there. 1 minute time frame. There's a closer look at that bear flag right there. Red dot. Stokes completely overbought. Starting to roll over. I'm sorry. There you go. Can you see my screen now? I'm still getting used to the Zen Lab setup. I was showing you the liquidity stream. Well, here's Near Protocol. Once again, it looks like somewhat of a bear flag right here. Somewhat of a bear flag rolling over on a very small time frame, 1 minute. Let me back up a bit to the 5 minutes since you didn't see this. Could be somewhat of a double bottom on support there, but on the very small time frames, you look a bit bearish, right? You see it kind of rolling over there. 1 minute, red dot, all the momentum starting to curve down, heading down. Yeah, it looks like it may go a little bit further down on the small time frames. Let's look at the 4 hour. Well, 4 hours pretty bullish. Yeah. You got a bull flag here, breakout. Nice little breakout there. And then you have price getting tight and sideways like a pennant, right? A bull pennant. Yeah, price going tight and sideways, somewhat of a bull pennant there. Bullish consolidation. Stokes, starting to curve up a bit. You do have some bearish divergence from this peak to this peak. Higher price, lower momentum, and a lower highs on the RSI and stochastic RSI. So, I mean, this could come down, in a bearish case. Could this be like, shoulder, you make a head, dump there, right shoulder. Just looking at all possible scenarios here. But right now is bullish consolidation. No sign of a bounce yet. And actually a little bit bearish on the small time frames. On the daily, man, you're very, very hot here. Very overheated, very extended. It has been on a rampage. Yeah, Nears has been on a rampage, and you can see that it may be looking to take a break and come down. I would expect a red dot to print soon on Near on a daily, and a potential short may be in play. I wouldn't be too quick to, front run that dump. A little bit high risk. But you never know. What if you get into a trade based on a small time frame and it turns into a bigger trade? Like, short in this 1 minute, 200 MA. But I don't know. So, it could bounce there. Looks like a little bit of a double bottom. All right, what other trades? What other coins do you want me to look at? Coins, projects, even stocks, whatever you want me to look at. We are looking at the NASDAQ and seeing what's going on the macro and what's going on in the economy and what people are speculating on. TET, what's that? Let's look at TET. Oh, Tetrum. Okay. What a weird looking chart. Is this the best exchange we got for this? Hold on. Tetum emissions token. That's it. Oh, that looks even worse. Jeez. All right. That just looks like it's like robotic, right? Like AI slop or something. What is that? Yeah, this is not even like real volume. You got to go to the real high time frames to see it. We will look at XRP. I got you. All right, daily time frame. I could do something with this chart. I can do something with this. Okay. This is, how far back is this? That's in February of this year. Okay, breakout, range bound over there. You get a real breakout, bull flag, breakout, bull flag, double top, bearish, neckline, dump ya. And measured move right there to the 50 MA. I mean, it's pretty much almost already there. That could be the move, but it's also bear flagging right now. That's a current bear flag, but you do have a green dot. The daily does says, things are reset on this TET chart. Technically, this could just put a red dot as well and just, be a little dead cat bounce. But I mean, you're in the discount on the daily. But what I see is this could just bear flag, hit the 50 MA. Maybe that would be the real bottom, and then you get your recovery potentially. I don't know anything about this project. I'm just looking at it from a TA standpoint, a non-biased TA standpoint. All right, I want to go to XRP, and then we got to get back to Bitcoin. We got some trades that we got to look at, folks. I want to get into some more trades. I'm in a highly speculative Solana long right now. XRP, let's take a look. Daily time frame. Wow, just nothing. Give us nothing. XRP is really good at giving us nothing. Wow. Is that at the complete, just bear market low bottom, just range bound, but man, that's just bearish. Let me see. Does XRP lose this level and go down to the next high volume node? Right now is 134, $1.34 for XRP. If it dumps from this level, we may see $1.10 XRP. That's the next, volume node I'm seeing here on the volume profile. Besides that, I mean, there's another big volume gap, bring you all the way down to 58 cents. I mean, I'm not saying that just to be bearish, but that's what the charts are telling me right now. Now, to get out of this little pickle on the daily for XRP, you kind of got to, and it looked like it inverted. Didn't it look like one? It looked like one, but then it just gave it all back plus some. It almost looks like it wants to actually really dump. I'm just being honest on the daily. But let's go to some other time frames. 4 hour XRP. I mean, it's a major coin. It's going to be in the strategic reserve, right? It should get a move with everything else. I'll tell you one thing. I do see maybe some bullish divergence on the 4 hour. No, not really. No. There was some back here. There was some on the way down. And they got a little pump, but it just went lower. It went lower. And, you look to see that symmetrical recovery. Trying to see some support here. Very critical level right now on the 4 hour. Does it, eventually recover the same way it dumped? A nice wick on the 4 hour candle, I'll say that, for XRP. It has a red dot high Stokes, but I would expect that they may just put a green dot here pretty soon on Market Cipher. Yeah, that's support. That's support for XRP. It may just make that right shoulder. 1 hour. 1 hour says to long. 1 hour says you can scalp long based on that time frame. You dump. You found support. Bullish engulfed that entire red candle. You're above the 50 now. Green dot, low Stokes. The classic long setup here. Even has a double bottom on the stochastic. That's a scalp right there. That's a 1 hour scalp if you wanted to get into an XRP trade. So as bearish and lackluster as it looks on a daily, that's a trade for XRP. There you go. You don't even have to like XRP, but I mean, only thing I would say is I would be more comfortable taking this if there was more bullish divergence. I don't see it. Yeah, I would have liked some more bullish divergence, but for right now, there is a long signal based on the low stochastics, based on this green engulfer candle fighting back the green dot, and what the NASDAQ and Bitcoin is doing as well. So potential long trade on XRP right there if you want to take it. I don't think I'm making that official trade alert though. All right, let's look into some hype. Who's that? Azar Farid. I got you. Hype USDT. Let's look at it on Binance. Okay, this is a 1 hour. I like just landing on random time frames. 1 hour. So you did put in a higher high here. And let's just look at the story that happened here previously. This was a nice little bull trend. Hype has been pretty bullish, like ever since like the 13th. That's a lot of days. Since the 13th, it's been in a bull trend. And it looked very shaky about right here. This double top. That looked pretty shaky, and it did dump the measured move to right there. And you know, you found some bullish divergence, you pumped up out of it, you got above this high, but you're still kind of struggling with resistance there. Stochastic completely reset. That's what you look for when you're long. You know, you look for it up high when you're shorting. Let's see. Interesting. I got to see some other time frames here and where the real resistance is on hype. But I'll say this. Let's look at the daily, because this is one of those coins that was just running nonstop. Just completely running nonstop. Hyperliquid. The stochastic RSI. I'm not in love with that rounded top for a bullish move. So that looks bearish. You know, potential scalp trade on the macro, maybe for hype. Look at this red volume right there. A lot of volume, red volume, lacking volume on the recent candles. Let's zoom out. And that's an all-time high, isn't it, for hype? I'm looking back at like September in 25 when it hit like 60 bucks. That I'm assuming that was the all-time high, unless I'm missing chart data. Feel free to correct me, folks. Feel free to correct me. Yeah, we put in the all-time high, and this all-time high may just, I don't know. Let's see what's going on the medium time frames. The 4 hour. Stokes completely overbought. Red dot, money flow red. So this tells me that this trend is still bullish, you know, on this medium time frame, but this is bearish in the short term. Either this thing consolidates down, maybe it consolidates forward consolidation, or maybe it even trends up, you know, bounces here and trends up some. It looks like, you know, it's gonna, excuse me. Hyperliquid. Yeah, many possibilities. Once again, not a fortune teller here, but based on the probability, high Stokes, red dot, you put in a red candle. Is that a engulfer? It's technically an engulfer. That looks like a short. That looks like a short, my friends. Yeah, let's look at some short setup here. Hyperliquid. Short and hyperliquid. Are you crazy? Super high risk. But even if you were to enter around now, stop loss above those wicks, those tweezer top wicks around 64.78. Take profit around 54.98. I can see hyperliquid possibly getting bearish on this time frame and dumping. Or it don't care. Touch the 21, early profit. This thing keeps moving. You know, the market doesn't care about what I think is going to happen. Smaller time frames, hyperliquid. Low volume candles, not in love with them, but I mean, I'm seeing a little bit of bullish consolidation there. Can we get a better chart? Bybit. There we go. Thank you, Bybit. 15-minute. Retracing. You had your head and shoulders right there. It dumped the measured move. It could dump from this 21 and keep going down a little bit more. It seems like it wants to make a bull flag. But in order to do that, you need to retrace. A bull flag or maybe a falling wedge. Maybe it'll be more violent. Maybe some type of falling wedge. Hyperliquid. Possible. Very small time frames now. Let's see. Ooh, that's a Sammy special in the 1 minute right now. That might pump you in a small time frame. I'm just looking at the micro trend. That's a break in micro trend right there. The trend was down clearly right here on the 1 minute for Hyperliquid. It tried to break trend here, got rejected, found support, inverse head and shoulder, got above the 200 in May. That's the official change in trend right there. With the 21 crossing the 200, 50 close behind. That might be a scalp for Hyperliquid. Let me just, 1 second. Let me just keep the NASDAQ in the background here and Bitcoin because I see movement, folks. All right, NASDAQ on the 1 minute. It's still in that rising channel, that parabolic channel. I would just be careful, you know, high bear div, a lot of bear div there. A lot of times this breaks down after it finishes its parabolic thing. 1 minute for Bitcoin. What are you doing, Bitcoin? Let me get rid of market cipher A here and DBSI. I see inverted head and shoulder above the 200. That's a Sammy special once again. The long trade looks good, honestly. You see, I gave you guys a good trade, but I messed up putting my stop loss too close. You know, scared money don't make no money. I brought my stop loss into break even really quick. But I see this as a, you know, somewhat of a complex inverse head and shoulder. This clear resistance, you see it right there, 76,900. You know, it keeps getting rejected at that line. That's the top of the pattern. And then you see the higher lows here creating the ascending triangle. I remember it because it's like ascending, like it's going up. You know, the lows are going up. The highs are stuck in one place. That's an ascending triangle, bullish pattern. Not too late to trade Bitcoin. If you're just getting here, welcome in. Is this anyone's first time here at this channel? Put a 1 in the chat. If this is your first time here, I want to shout you out and welcome you. But yeah, you could trade this. So, you know, based on your risk level, I really think deep stop losses are necessary right now in this market. So I would at least use the 200 in May. And here comes the breakout, baby. Here it goes. These things break out. I gave you a live trade. I'm still in the Solana trade, by the way. I didn't drag my Solana stop loss up so quick like I did Bitcoin. Once again, welcome. You know, happy Memorial Day weekend. It's a Bitcoin Memorial Day pump. Memorial Day weekend pump for Bitcoin. Sometimes you got to dump the pump, folks. Okay. Let me, I'm going to drag my liquidity screen down to my trading screen so I don't make that mistake I did last time. So let me bring this here. There you go. You see the liquidity. We're going for the red. Big shout out to the newcomers. Shout out to Web Metaverse, Rise Above. Good to see you. I'm glad the algorithm has brought you to me. And us here at Sin City Crypto. We bet on the market like a casino. Not really. But speaking of the casino, let's see what's going on with it. All right. So the demand is at 56. Wow. Here we go. Demand is at 56. We're on a pull to the upside. And if this is your first time seeing this right here, we call this the casino. This shows us the real-time demand in the market for Bitcoin. Demand is currently positive, and at 56. Okay, there was a pull to the upside called at negative 45. When we are at negative 45 below this line here, the zero line, they called a pull to the upside. So the momentum on this chart, this is a 5-minute chart, by the way, is to the upside for now. It looks like it was about to roll over a bit there. We'll see what happens. But you see the pennant right there, right? You see the bull pennant on the Heikin-Ashi candles. So this is Heikin-Ashi. This is not normal candles, so it looks a bit different than the Bitcoin candles I'm looking at on TradingView. But you see the trend kind of bullishly consolidating and breaking out right now. You can see the orders on the left to me right now coming in real time. These are like, an amalgamation, of different orders coming from different exchanges. We have Binance on there, Coinbase, all the major exchanges. And you can see the green buy orders, red sell orders coming in. So a little bit of a pull to the upside, current buy signal on Bitcoin. Now, I would say treat all buy signals and longs right now as scalps until we see any different, because Bitcoin was looking very bearish just yesterday on the daily and the 4-hour. And in fact, let's do that. Let's do that. So so the casino is just a live YouTube indicator thing. Okay. You can just look up Bitcoin Live Educational. It's pretty cool to keep in the background. But let me get back to Bitcoin here. And I need to look at those higher time frames that I just talked about. Because yesterday the daily was very bearish. Is it still bearish? Get rid of some ideas here. All right, looks good. Make the screen bigger. Okay, get rid of the fib. I always like to have a nice clean chart. All right, daily time frame. That's a long. Zen Master, why are you always so bullish? Zen gods, please cure my bullish sentiment, my bullish bias. I just want to trade the trend. I just want to trade the trend. But sometimes you got to just, clear your mind and listen to the charts. I'm trying to listen to the charts right now, okay? Wow. I'm trying to listen to the charts. I see a bullish trend here. I mean, yeah, we can zoom out and see the bearish trend, all right? Maybe we should look at the weekly too. Big old bear trend, bear flag, dump, bear flag, dump. Nope, right? Maybe it's just a bigger bear flag, dump. Maybe, but stochastics are reset. I know I put a lot of weight on a stochastic, but just telling you the indicators I'm using here. The stochastic is reset and pointed up. The RSI right here is reset and pointed up. Green dot on market cipher B. Now that's just some indicator, right? That's just telling me that it may be, an ebb to the upside now, an ebb and flow to the upside. Green money flow saying that the trend is green, right? But it is trending out. Could it just be a lower, just a low right there and then, keep going up, higher low? Zoom back out. Let's look at it from a market structure perspective. We do got to check on oil. Thank you so much, Beta Beto. We got to make sure we look at oil. We looked at it, I think, earlier, just very briefly. And let me not be biased while I'm drawing this pattern here. It looks like a falling wedge, a potential bull flag. Are we just in the pattern? I don't use the wicks when I'm drawing these patterns. I just use the candle bodies. So I'm trying to be as fair here and, draw this properly. Yeah, falling channel, falling wedge usually breaks up, especially in the bull trend. The bull trend is this, the daily time frame, bull trend. That's a nice liquidation wick down there. We're currently in a doji candle right above the 50 MA. We have to hold this 50 MA. You see how we're like right at that key level? Such a key level for Bitcoin right now. Tony Rosa says, gotta point that right shoulder before we go to oblivion. Gotta print that right shoulder before we go to oblivion. Okay, on the daily you're talking about? You mean like this? Is this the shoulder you're looking for? Something like that? Head and shoulder? I can see that. That could be the bearish case. That could have been the top right there, the top of the shoulder. And then the next few candles just, bing bong in this one area and kind of round out and dump you. That could very much happen, especially if the NASDAQ does like a blow off top. The NASDAQ does like a blow off top in the next few days, and then Bitcoin kind of gets a small run up. It could happen. Kilgannon 84 says, looks pretty vertical for a flag. Yeah, it looks kind of like a fallen channel to me. It looks like a fallen wedge. You see how it's getting a little bit tighter at the bottom and it's just kind of falling. It's definitely a fallen channel. I would still call it a bull flag. Bull flag, potential fallen wedge may be more appropriate. Yeah. And then let's see that 4 hour. So yes, this is the bear trend right here. I'm gonna go ahead and highlight that. Bear trend, bull trend. I'm looking at this as the trend, based on the amount of data I'm looking at. Not super zoomed out, but based on the data I'm looking at, bull trend, bear trend, main move, retracement, bounce. That's my philosophy right now, based on what I'm seeing. And I don't care if Bitcoin, goes to 100K first or 40K first. I really just want to, do this based on the charts. And if this rolls over right here, then that's continued bear trend, right? Even longer retracement. Even down here. In fact, let's take our time here. Let's draw the fib. Let's draw the fib. So two different ways of doing this. Taking it from the very bottom, right? From when you from the very, very bottom, most recent bottom. And 618 could bring you down to 71,700, believe it or not, and still be bullish for that macro move. Or you could draw this from here, from like the actual breakout from this somewhat of a double bottom. Like maybe like right there. And that is the 618, confluence right there for a bounce now. If you take it from the neckline, essentially, 786 would be like 73,310. A lot of liquidity down there. Okay. So I'm just trying to see like how I should be framing things. Should I be looking for long, shorts? Are we rolling over? Is this a key level? Yes, it's a key level. Daily has, hopes of a bounce here. That's what a bounce looks like. Shoulder, head, you put one more right shoulder, inverted, make your way up, green dot, everything is reset. Okay. Let's look at the weekly. Now the weekly looks a little bit more bearish, right? Look how overextended the weekly is. Weekly is overextended, tried to lose support right here on the 21, bounce back up. Now that's a bullish bounce. I got to say, red candle, but bullish bounce. It's as clear as this. If you lose this level, if you go back down to 75,200 or 75,300, bearish for Bitcoin. Next stop, 62K. It's as simple as that. If you respect this level and bounce from here, double bottom, start making somewhat of a, ascending triangle, then very bullish for Bitcoin. Bullish, bearish. So it doesn't matter what I think is going to happen, what you think is going to happen. What happens is what Bitcoin respects, what the market chooses, what people choose, to pay for Bitcoin. What are people willing to pay for Bitcoin? Are people more willing to pay 60K or 80K, 90K? How willing are people, to buy Bitcoin at these levels? Now, the way I like to look at it sometimes too is each price level, each range is a different market. Let's go to the 4 hour. It's a battle for price. 4 hour. So 4 hour, I remember this 4 hour so well. It had a nice double bottom. It started getting above the moving averages. And then we saw that 50 MA coming. Yep, bearish cross, double bearish cross, dumped Bitcoin above resistance, dumped it back down below it, found some support here. And now here we are struggling at resistance again. While we look very bullish right now on this current candle, you're still not above it. You're still not above resistance. Okay. I'm just, doing this to just frame the direction here. The direction is uncertainty because, the two things can play out here. There's two possibilities. You just, play out this complex inverted head and shoulder and pump, or you just dump from what it could be just another bear flag. Oops, excuse me, another bear flag here. Bear flag dump, like simple story. You're like, I'm going to do what price does. Whatever Bitcoin wants to show me in real time is how I'll position myself. Let's get back down to the smaller time frames. Hey, if you guys want any deep dives, TA, if you want to take my attention right now, the best way to do it is send a super chat. I would actually really appreciate it. Maybe we can get some super chats going on, from the Zen Lab. Don't normally do this from this studio. We're normally in the, the $1 million studio, the big studio, Sin City Crypto, and the personal Zen Lab right now. So, send in some requests, super chats, put stuff in the regular chat too. If I see it, I see it. I'll try to hit all the main coins at least. But 5-minute time frame Bitcoin right now, price action. That looks like a double top. That looks like a double top on the 5-minute. You are still above the 200 though. So respecting support. And I see the 21 coming inbound. And what's going to happen here is if this crosses, that's going to push price up. Okay, you got the 50 not too far behind either. Let's go down to the 1-minute time frame. Right now time frame, you're chopping sideways, but you're still, somewhat respecting trend here. Did you fall out of the ascending? I think it was something like this, no? I think we had a trend like this drawn. I stayed deleting my trend lines because I want a fresh outlook. XPL Plasma, what is that? Like, was this the trend? And now it's starting to break the, the diagonal resistance. I call this diagonal resistance when you lose trend based on a diagonal trend line, because you could look at trend like that, or you could look at trend horizontal. Like, it's respected this level, it's respected this level. But as far as a diagonal, you have lost the trend for now. But high volatility, I wouldn't put too much weight on a 1-minute super micro loss of a pattern trend. Bitcoin don't care about your pattern. Wild market in the last few days. Yes, it has been. Yes, it has been. I'm going to look at some of these requests coming in. What's XPL? Okay, I think I've seen this one. I'm going to have to look at some larger time frames because it's giving me those low volume candles again. Okay, this is a 30-minute time frame. Let's see what we got going on here. So we had a run up. Look at that. See, that's why those like just straight up run ups like that, just straight diagonal, like they usually break down eventually. Like it goes parabolic until it breaks down. That reminds me of the NASDAQ, which let me just pull up right here. NASDAQ starting to pump. Yeah, there it is. All right, here's the NASDAQ on the 5-minute. Remember I said these like kind of rising channels, they go really parabolic or they roll over. It even made it look like it was going to roll over and now it's just going to pump out of it. So it's choosing to pump right now in the NASDAQ, but that trend just reminded me of XPL. We'll get back to XPL right here. You had this huge run up on a 30-minute. You went parabolic until you didn't. You lost the trend, found support, another bounce, double top, dump the full measured move, try to get up, dump, resistance, dump. Couldn't even get to the main resistance, but dump from 21 and 50 resistance. Just continued dumpage there, but then you finally had another breaker trend. That's why the 200 MA is so important. The yellow line is my 200 MA. Once you cross it, especially the 21, my white line, and the 50, once they both cross, you have a confirmed, change in trend. The trend changed, and so did price. And there you go. You lost it here. High volatility dump. Could this double bottom? Looks like it could potentially double bottom, but there's your resistance again, your first resistance at the 21. We'll see if it can get above it there. I'll tell you one thing, your stochastic RSI is very overbought in this time frame, and it really shouldn't be. That was barely a move there. It just kind of, I guess it was a big green candle, sure, but you're now out of, out of engine power. Your RPMs are high and struggling, and you're at resistance. We'll see what happens, though. That was a strong candle and a strong wick there. Could it just, kind of symmetrically recover there? Yeah, F your pattern, right? Oil, beta, I got you. Beta. I'm so sorry about that. We'll get into oil right now. But as far as on the smaller time frames, XPL, is there a trade setup? That looks like a nice head. Come on, give me my pointer. There we go. That looks like a nice head for a potential, slanted inverted head and shoulder. I see some bull div there too. I could see XPL breaking out right here on the 5 minute. Yeah, at least up to the 200. I don't see anything, no major move coming here or anything, but XPL could do damage. 1 hour, look at that, nice little tweezer bottom. Not too bad. We need oil. Let's look at oil. Oil on the right now time frame. What is it doing? It's dumping. That's bearish consolidation. So it looks like the markets opened the same time as the NASDAQ. Yes, it did. So the NASDAQ opened at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time this Sunday. And so did oil. And oil had this big dump. NASDAQ had a big pump. And now it's bearishly consolidating under $92 a barrel. This is a descending triangle so far. Bearish. High Stokes. Probably going to give you a red dot pretty soon there. That looks like a short setup on oil. That looks like a short setup to me on oil based on the 5 minute time frame. I'm not calling that just yet. And this is a very volatile day. But look at your other time frames, your 15 minute. Let's see what happens what happened before the markets closed on Friday. Was it already in a bear trend, oil? It was looking kind of dumpy just because, I remember talking about this Friday. You remember this, bro? Shout out to Rex. God King, keep us updated on the casino numbers. Just throw it in the chat. Good question. Is it a half? I don't think it's a half day today. I think it's somewhat of a half day tomorrow. Can somebody confirm that? The futures market? Is it a half day today? So yeah, it looked like, almost bullish consolidation, like a bull pennant, maybe oil made a big move potentially, but look, you lost the pattern there, the diagonal resistance so far. And I'm seeing like imperfect head and shoulder here. Imperfect head and shoulder. I'm seeing momentum slide into the downside. You see the momentum spill. Just coming straight down. And no bullish divergence. Well, a little bit on a stochastic, but not on market cipher B. That's a 4 hour time frame. Let's get back to like the smaller tradable scalp time frames. 15 minutes on oil. All right, 15 minute time frame. That's a big dump, folks. You got to remember there's a gap here, but like that's literally like acting like one candle right there. That's a big dump. So right now, oil is going a bit sideways after a bearish move. I would look to short the bearish consolidation oil. It just keeps doing this a little bit. Keeps doing this. You know, maybe a bigger descending triangle. And then and dump oil. All right, back to the NASDAQ and back to Bitcoin. And I need some more altcoins, folks. Send in the super chat, so show some appreciation. I'm home from the crib. I'm at the Zen Lab, putting in Zen trades for you live right now. Let's check on trades, by the way. I put in a Solana long, very speculative, high risk Solana long here. Let me zoom in. This is based on a 5-minute time frame. Looked like an inverted head and shoulder. Bitcoin was starting to move. NASDAQ starting to move. It's in profit, but barely. I'm up like 40 bucks on Solana right now. Potential take profit at $91. Stop loss at 83.53. I'm long on Solana. I could be wrong, but you know, I'm looking to scalp this market, and scalp it I will. All right, Tony Rosa says open until 1 p.m. Eastern time. Regular market closed tomorrow. Rex says no half day today, though. Can we get this right? Can we get it right? So 3 p.m. Eastern time. Wait, let me read that again. Open until 1 p.m. Eastern time, until 1 p.m. So, but wouldn't it be like closed already? You sure you're reading that right, Tony Rosas? Oh, am I retarded? All right, Bitcoin. Bitcoin on the 1 minute. Let's get back to it. Back in the charts. Thoughts on Beat USDT? I don't know. I have to look at that, trader. But 1 minute time frame on Bitcoin. This is still valid. This pattern is still valid. Believe it or not, we got back in it. You know, I see ascending triangle. That's basically like this. And we're trying to break out of it right now. And you could even at this point, now that we bounce from this level, you could say that this is the pattern. And let's extend the resistance. Get out of here, trade. Yeah. Yeah, that's bullish consolidation on Bitcoin above the 1 minute after a huge dump. Looks like Bitcoin got saved by the NASDAQ futures open much higher. And here it is still chugging along on its 1 minute. Look at it. NASDAQ don't care, man. Now it's starting to bull flag a bit. A lot of volume. Interesting. Let's see what's going on with the casino. Casino looks like it's kind of rolling over a bit, no? We're now in the red Heikkanashi candles. These are 5-minute candles. 71 for the demand. So it's in a positive. It's in a positive right now. Let's see. Trades per minute. Just 9 trades per minute. Low volume. Yeah, I'm only seeing 9 trades per minute. Orders coming in slow. Small time frames bullish right now. But the 30 to the 4 hour is bearish at the current time. Interesting. Let's get back to BTC. And oh, wow, look at that. Try to break out. BTC running. BTC running, baby. God King, how we doing? God King says I'm not live on the video. Are we live, folks? Am I still live? Do you got me? Do you have me live from the Zen Trading Lab? Oh, you mean live on the casino? Is that what you mean? Ah, there you go. There you go. God King was saying I was behind on the casino. Holy crap. Holy crap. So Bitcoin is actually not looking the way I was looking at it on the casino. We actually have 47 trades per minute. We're actually at 88 on the demand. We're actually on a pull to the upside and still pushing, breaking out of the, the bull pennant here. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that correction, God King. I appreciate you. Anybody see any other live trade setups here? Okay. I want to see, because I can't go forever here. Any other live trade setups or coins that we should be looking at? Bitcoin is running. Hold on, folks. Bitcoin is running, and how Solana? So is Solana. We're up in the trade right now. Anybody take the trade with me? Put a 1 in the chat if you took any trade I put out today. Anybody taking the live trades? Anybody blindly following JP? Wow. So, okay. So we're up right now. Scalps, working out to the upside currently. How sustainable is it? NASDAQ still kind of retracing a bit. Is Bitcoin getting a little too ambitious? Let's see. This is healthy, though. This is a healthy little retracement after this big move for the NASDAQ. Let's give the NASDAQ a fib. Ah, shit. We got some people taking the trade. Shout out to Blue Honorable, Ken Anderson, Legendary God King. D Crypto says he's long. What's up, D Crypto? Hey, Beto took the one sold trade. I love it. But yeah, NASDAQ, I think this goes higher. I mean, that looks like a healthy little retracement. The stochastic is still a bit higher on the NASDAQ, but it don't care. It'll just curve. I'm seeing bullish trend on the small time frame for the NASDAQ, which is highly influencing Bitcoin. That's the story right now. Bitcoin saved by the NASDAQ open. Bitcoin wanted to take out lower liquidity. NASDAQ said, nah, I got you. And where's my liquidity screen? Let's show you guys some liquidity again here. Oh, we're coming for it. Oh, we're coming for it, baby. I'm seeing a lot of liquidity at 79,371. Look at this red liquidity at 78,354. Let's zoom out. And then we still have all that liquidity below us at 74,100. Let's go to like a 15-minute time frame. I'm gonna see how this looks. 15-minute liquidity at 78,200 essentially. The real liquidity is up at 83,000. Lower liquidity at 74,100. It looks like we're going for that upwards liquidity right now. Bitcoin breaking out of the bullish consolidation. We called this out live, folks. We got some volume here. Money flow green. Let's find the next battlefield here. What I mean by battlefield is like what time frame did trend not change yet? And how is it looking on changing the trend? All right, we got a super chat here. Let's check out this super chat from Rise Above. Says, I'm new here. I just want to say I appreciate watching in. Thank you. Hey, I got you. Of course, I'm glad you appreciate the TA. I'm just trying to navigate the market for you guys and see if we can make some money. We do this usually Monday through Friday. Make sure you're subscribing, to the channel here, Sin City Crypto, especially if you're new. We usually do this Monday through Friday, but now we're, experimenting with weekend streams here so we can keep you guys paid. How you like that? Okay. So once again, looking for the next battleground. Where has trend not changed yet? Trend has already changed on the 15-minute to the upside. 30-minute trend just changed because we got above the 200 in May. But what's really happening here? This is a very interesting pattern I'm seeing. And so price got above the 200. It tried twice. Let's look at it in full context here. That's an inverted head and shoulder right there that broke you up. We're going to fully measure this out. Clean up the chart. That's a nice little inverted head and shoulders, symmetrical recovery. You gotta, you hear me say this a lot, like symmetrical recovery. What I mean by that is you pump the same way that you dump. See that dump? And then that pump look exactly the same, you know, with levels and all. Nice symmetrical recovery for Bitcoin on the 30-minute. Neckline right here on the inverted head and shoulder. Measure to the head. That's how you get your measured move. And lo and behold, look where it took us, up to resistance, and got a little bit past it, rejected, trying again. You got your golden cross right there. And notice the moment that 21 crossed the 200, we had a big move up. Now we had a lot of sellers. We had a lot of sellers push down here and push price down again. You came back down. You might have stopped some people out that was long off of this, because this was and could have been a nice little, right, ascending triangle, kind of bullish there. But come back down, stop some people out, you know, high leverage longs with tight stop losses. Price came back up. It looked like a bear flag. That looked kind of bearish, right? That looked bearish, rolling over. I bet you the Stokes were kind of high, a little bit high right there. And then look, it even did the rollover. It even did the rollover. Bitcoin looked like it was going to go so much lower. But we had this candle instead. When this happens, you have to listen, okay? Because you could have been bearish all you wanted. You could have called this, you know, head and shoulder, and it was a head and shoulder. But not every pattern plays out. You know, you would have thought this would have brought us down. But this candle said, I don't care. You see this big old candle right here. I don't care. We had a huge bounce at 76,100. Apparently there's support there, and it helps that the NASDAQ opened at that exact time and started pumping uncontrollably. So we had a big old green engulfing candle on the 30-minute here, changing the game, changing the course of the 50. The 50 bullish cross, the 21 now curving up. What I expect here is a continued bullish move based on this time frame. Just maybe even if it went up a little bit, and then it may try to retrace again. Maybe we stumble and have some resistance at this level here, 77,300. But the moment this 21 wants to cross that 200, give me another golden cross. You already have the 50 up there. And especially when a 21 crosses the 50, because the 21 is faster than a 50. Excuse my scribbly drawing here. The 21 is faster than the 50. That will give you your next explosive move up. And maybe at that point, it's a bigger inverse head and shoulder or something. I'm just projecting. Once again, not, some type of sidekick. I don't know what's going to happen, but based on probability and based on TA, this trend has changed on a 30-minute. All right, here is what I call a battleground. And once again, if you're brand new to the stream, welcome. Happy Bitcoin dump and pump holiday weekend. Put a 1 in the chat once again if you're brand new and just getting here. If you're enjoying the stream, and especially if you're brand new and enjoying it, please hit the like button. We appreciate it. It helps us in the algorithm, and we want to do this for you every day of the week eventually, okay? Give you live trades. So go ahead and hit that like for me and throw a 1 in there once again if you're brand new, just stepping in. But let's get back to here. 1 hour. 1 hour. This is, once again, the battleground. Let's get rid of this idea here. And so you're above the 200 in May. Once again, this is my barometer for if we're bullish or bearish based on a particular time frame. My yellow line. We're above it, but it looks like we're kind of like right at resistance, no? We're right at resistance, but look at the stochastic RSI. Why you so low? It's a good thing for a bullish move. Why you so low, stochastic RSI, and curving up? RSI pointing up. Mohammed, you're not new. I always see you here. Good to see you, Mohammed. But you're at resistance, but isn't this, I usually like these at the bottom of patterns, but that's somewhat of a double bottom there. Green dot currently says that as far as ebbs and flows, we're on the ebb right now. We're ebbing up, ebbing and edging up. VWAP, this yellow line heading up right now on the 30-minute. Does it have strength? If you can also pair that with some volume, you get above the 200. But yeah, two pretty bullish green candles we're now on a 1 hour time frame for Bitcoin with low stochastics. Let me just draw this out a bit here. Like, is this a megaphone? It's giving like bullish megaphone to me right now. Anybody know about a megaphone pattern? Shouts out to learn, enjoy, relax. That's a perfect combo. This is a perfect place here to learn, enjoy, and relax. So I hope you learn some things and, and enjoy the stream and relax while we make gains. Shout out to everybody just joining in for the first time. That's a bullish megaphone there. So these break up. These break up. It's kind of like a bull flag. You're kind of low. You put in the higher high. You put in the lower low. You put in the higher high. I don't know why I went out the pattern, but higher high, lower low. You basically like do something like that until you break out. And this could be, it could be the breakout right there, or you just bing bong in this pattern for a bit. Once again, no narrative involved here, just a TA. That's a bullish megaphone with low Stokes. It's a bullish consolidation pattern, but with high volatility. Let's get back down to the small time frames and look at Solana. If you really want to get my attention, super chat for any deep dives, any coins you want to look at. I'll take a look at it, and especially on any time frame you want to. I appreciate when you guys put the time frame in there. Like, look at Solana on the 30-minute, look at Solana on a 15-minute, and then I'll look at it. Okay, 1 minute on Bitcoin right now. That is a bull flag. Am I really? Is this correct? This is the 1 minute for Bitcoin right now. We broke up out of that ascending triangle breakout and now starting to bullishly consolidate after a bit of a move. Ascending triangle, bull flag, 21 touch, Stokes a low. That's even a micro scalp right there. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I don't like trade. That's like trading the 30-second time frame here. I'm not into it, but you could trade that. I'd rather do the bigger move. Bitcoin bullish, breaking out. Let me go to Solana. I'm also in a Solana trade. Solana looks just like Bitcoin. It looks like almost exact, no? Same thing. Ascending triangle, breakout, bull flag. Solana is being pretty volatile here. It's gonna, try to lose the 21, gain it, maybe touch the 50. Like, I can see a lot happening here, and it could be a potential SR flip here as well. Like, clearly this was the resistance here. Broke above it, somewhere around there. Yeah, that was the resistance. I will say it right there, honestly. Yeah, that looks about accurate. There was the resistance. This could just come down and touch that. Price to something like this and then bounce. Maybe. If it loses it, it gets accepted back into the range, the lower range, and then it starts to look a little bit more bearish. All right, we do have, what is this? Do we have a super chat here? Muhammad, why are you all green and pretty like that? Is that a super chat? That's just like a member chat. Can we look at ICP? I got you. Let's look at ICP. And we got to look at gold as well. I got you, folks. We'll look at gold. Let's look at ICP. ICP on Binance. Let's look at it on like 1 hour. 1 hour. Here we go. All right, big dump on ICP. You can see the run up. So big run up, blow off top, try the curve. Fake pump, dump, bear flag, dump. This is where the real reversal happened. The trend became bearish on the 1 hour, confirmed when you lost this level. That was a change in character on the 1 hour. continued dumpage, continue to trend, bearish consolidation, dump, bear flag, dump. Now you see it started finding support right around here, and it's probably because of a level to the left on the chart. But you started finding support, and you notice you started going sideways a bit, and you also started having some slight bullish divergence, very slight. Inverse head and shoulder right there, broke up. It had a nice semi-special right there. That was nice, but it was somewhat of a rising megaphone. Yeah, somewhat of a rising megaphone. And the rising megaphones actually break down, believe it or not. And it did break down back to support and even more support, broke up. That looks like bullish consolidation to me because of this move right here. And that's a strong rejection from support, or a bounce, I should say, a strong bounce from support, and back above the 200. Nice little bull pennant there. Lost to 21 though, bounced from the 200. I know this is a lot, but this is a bullish for this small reversal right here. I see a small reversal on ICP on the 1 hour based on what would be like tweezer bottoms there. You don't have a tweezer on the green candle, but that's a bounce right back to where you came from. I will look for a symmetrical recovery. And once you get above this trend here, and then you're bullish again. You're like one step away from being pretty bullish right there. About to make a move to the upside on the 1 hour. Don't worry, I'll make sure I look at gold. Make sure I look at gold, but let me look at ICP on some smaller time frames here. Let's go to the 5 minute. Excuse me. 5 minute, kind of just chugging along. I mean, money flow red dot could be the opportune short, right? But I do see that long, complex, inverted head and shoulder trying to play out, breaking out, bull flag right there, and then you're off to the races. I do see that attempting. Let me go to the very small time frame. 1 minute. 1 minute on ICP. That's a bull flag above the 200. Sammy special. You know, we call the Sammy special when you're above the 200 MA prices and touch the 21. Now you lost it, but that looks like it could make a move on a small time frame. Definitely a micro price trend reversal there. Just really quick daily, and then I'll look at gold. What a rejection. Wow. Huge move, rejection, rounded bottom. I like the rounded bottom. We like rounded bottoms. TP, possible price reversal on Bitcoin. Really, we got to hurry up and get back to that. How Solana looking? Solana kind of just hanging out, barely in profit. NASDAQ, look at the NASDAQ just dragging out this whole time here. Big move up, but just dragging. I'm just trying to see what's bringing Bitcoin down. And it was this long retracement on the NASDAQ on the 1 minute time frame. That's what it was. And now you got a green dot again. It may try to break trend and go up again. And then you may see Bitcoin pump. But yeah, ICP, that's a nice rounded bottom, green dot. That could be a long on the daily. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I want to hurry up and get to gold. Gold on the daily. Big old bull flag to me. That's a huge bull flag, low Stokes green dot. I look like gold is about to run. I see a macro move for gold. Yeah. Something like that, right? I don't use the wicks in my patterns, but that looks like that's going to bounce. I mean, 200 MA, you lose that, obviously go lower. This is the real trend loss right there. You lose that, you go much lower. And the reason why we even had this dump is because you lost this 50 MA up here, you know, with strength. You lost it with strength, and that retraced you. But you kind of need that retracement. That was a healthy retracement after this huge move. So I think that's healthy for gold. And it may be a good place to maybe do a macro gold long, possibly. No confirmation for it, but That's a bull flag. All right, smaller time frames for gold. 4 hours, shaky business here. Man, trying to double bottom. But don't you see this big old bear flag? That big old bear flag tried to break down, got above resistance, lost it again. Now you're kind of just struggling here, but price is trying to come up. Price is trying to come up, but you see what it's up against. You were up against that resistance. You got above it. You're now at the 50 and kind of getting slapped up a little bit here on the 50 MA. The Rodriguez. Hello. Shout out to everybody in the chat. All right, let me erase this idea and then go to the small time frames for gold. What's happening right now for gold? Give me the 15-minute. Okay, it looks a lot like what the NASDAQ was looking like. Big breakup and then consolidate up. Consolidate up either, sends you parabolic or you dump. More times than not, you dump. But, we'll see what the move really has in store. But that was a big move on the 15-minute, 5-minute. Okay. Technically, that got to be the ugliest Sammy special I've ever seen. Think about that, God King. That's an ugly Sammy special. I mean, you're technically above the 200 and touching the 21, but just huge rise in channel with bearish divergence. That looks dumpy. It's a big move. It's a bearish trend. I mean, seriously, bullish trend, but like, come on, man. A little bit unsustainable there. You lost to 21. That looks like that's about to come down in the short term. Hey, get it, God King. Yeah, the ugliest Sammy special I've seen probably right here. Let's go to some smaller time frames. 1 minute on gold. Parabolic move. Who dare short me? That's a big move on gold. Man, so it looks like you can afford the retracement. Like, even if it did dump, like, couldn't you afford just to come down and check that 200? That would make sense to me. Like, so I would expect some volatility and maybe some, gold to come down in a very short term. It's probably pretty likely. But as far as the macro, I mean, look at this 30-minute breaking above. All that needs to do is flag out. You're very far from the 21 right here too, and the 50. All you need to do is flag out or bull flag here, and that's a pretty big move. Like, look at that. Like, you long this, 10 times out of 10. Inverse head and shoulder, retracement, break above trend, clean. Is the volume there? Where's the volume? You're not giving me any volume data here. Wow. That looks like a reversal right there. That looks like the kind of things that I long right there with a neckline there with a breakout, confirmed breakout. So opportune entry would be once the 21 touches price again, probably somewhere around here, 4,545. If you wanted to be patient on gold, draw a fib. Yeah, 50% is at 4,543, 618. 4,534. So somewhere in this zone, I would bring this down a little lower. Somewhere in this zone would be like a sweet spot for like an opportune sniper entry. But that's a break of trend. It was trending to the downside here on a 30-minute. We're now trending to the upside. That is a real-time change in trend for gold. Once again, back to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, 30-minute breaking out. 5-minute is it's found a bounce. Look at that wick right there. Wick 21, send it. 1 minute. 1 minute on the NASDAQ. Yeah, it just says send it. It says this is a bull flag, send it. Yeah. NASDAQ is ready to continue. But it could dump at any time. Okay. Any other coins, projects, folks? Come on, go ahead. Spam the chat. And I'm probably gonna wrap it up soon. So let's get as much done as we can here. I feel like I've been live for like 2 hours now. Man, TA goes so fast. Wow. And by the way, I do have a trade going on Tau still open on breakout. And this is why I like trading the daily time frame. Like I don't even have to worry about this account. Like my stop loss is so low in a daily that through all of this volatility, I have not had to adjust this position. Well, I did bring my stop loss into break even just in case here, right? But like I'm still in the trade. We're up 300 something bucks. We'll see what happens here. Tau. And also, folks, if you want to, if you want to try breakout, if you don't know what breakout is basically a prop trading firm, a crypto prop trading firm. You heard about prop trading firms like with, NASDAQ, traditional finance and stuff like that, but they do have crypto prop trading firms. So if you don't have $50,000 to trade with, you could trade with breakout. All you have to do is purchase one of their evals, which we could definitely get you a good discount on. Just use the discount code OLA. The link is in the description. Okay, for breakout. Highly recommend it. It's pretty cool actually. So breakouts from the same makers of Kraken. A very similar interface. What do we got? LTC, Ondo, virtual. Okay, let's do Ondo. Ondo USDT on Binance. All right, I started out on the 1 minute and they opened me to basically what could be a bull flag, but you see the head and shoulder, right? You see the head and shoulder that played out there. That dumped it. I'm thinking this might look like a bull flag on some of these bigger time frames though. 1 second. Let me get to the 5 minute. Okay, so there's that big dump earlier when Bitcoin dumped, came back, put in somewhat of a slanted right shoulder, tried to break out from that inverse head and shoulder, struggled at resistance, tried to make a bull pennant, struggled, rejected. Is this just like another piece of the right shoulder here? Is this just a rejection? Is there like a bigger bear flag on a higher time frame, like the 15 minute? 15 minute is pretty overbought right now. Money flow a bit shaky, about to head red. And of course, yeah, sorry folks. Showing you no TA. I got to get used to this. Awesome. 5 minute time frame. I'll show you this again. Looks like, it could be an inverse head and shoulder like a lot of other coins. I don't know, maybe some type of complex, or it could be just like a bear flag. What if this is just a bear flag at resistance on the 15 minute? All right, you had a double top up here, dump it, bearish consolidation, dump it, back up to resistance, dump it, roll it over. Stokes could roll over. Potential short setup right there if things start getting really shaky, especially right here on this 30-minute time frame. On this 30-minute time frame, double top. It dumped the measure move with the double top. Now back up, trying to consolidate. But clear breaking trend based on a 21. 21 came down, lost to 50, regained to 50. Rejection at the 21 so far again. Could be that bearish retest. Opportune entry, dump it, all right? 4 hour looks especially bearish. 4 hour is, could double top here, could cup and handle. Now I'll say this, is not, the cup and handles are usually like nice and rounded. This is more like a V for volatility, which is usually pretty bullish. But I mean, look how overbought you are. Red dot. Could this just be the double top shorted on Ondo? Very well could be. Daily time frame. There's that V for volatility again. V for volatility. That looks a little bit more like a cup though. And if it is, it may just want to handle. So seeing potential retracement on Ondo. But I think I said this last time, and then I saw like opportunity during the smaller time frame. So like, this could go a larger measured move based on, this bull flag breakout on a daily. 5 minute rejection. That looks like a short. That looks like a rejection short right there on Ondo. I'm not saying do this, but stop loss up there. If you prefer a short right now, there's a nice potential short. Stop loss above the 200 on the 5 minute. Just you're betting that it's now a bearish trend, and you invalidate that by going back above the 200 MA. All right, so many coins. Get my attention with a super chat. We're running out of time here, folks. LTC. Everything looks like that exaggerated, like head and shoulder, right? No, like that just exaggerated big old head, head and shoulder, right? Breakout. Bull flag attempting to come up to resistance at 52.9. That was a nice Sammy special on a 3 minute. Broke above, touch and go. Pretty bullish on the smaller time frames. 1 minute, Litecoin is taking off. Litecoin is testing new highs right now. Let's see other time frames. What was the 4 hour looking like again? I mean, clearly a bearish trend. Is there a larger bullish trend? Not really. Litecoin is kind of struggling on these higher time frames. Look at the 8 hour. Jesus. It looks a lot like XRP. Like, why are you at the low lows? Like of like your daily range. That is the low. Price is down here, folks. This is the last support you got. This is it. That's a bear flag already dumping on the weekly for Litecoin. Looks very bearish. That's a bear flag. Look at the stochastic. So overbought. That says macro dump. Only way to invalidate that is to get above that 21 MA and put in, test resistance. But it's more than likely to do something like this, like a quick dump down and come right back up, or maybe even quicker. But I could see that wanting to put in the head at least, even if you wanted a reversal, at least a head. Shoulder, head, imagine that, a big old head. Or it could be a quick head, a little needle nose head. But that looks pretty bearish. That's like mid dump. And we got a super chat. All right, appreciate it. All right, Poner Kilotrolls. Hope I said that right. Sending in 199, appreciate it. Hyper Liquid. Let's do it. Hyper Liquid on the weekly complete utter breakout. Daily breaking out. We know this. Give me the medium time frames and the small time frames. Okay, 4 hour here. All right, you do have a higher high. Do you have bear div? Looks like we do. Fix my stochastic there. You have some slight bear div from here to here. And you see it on the market cipher B as well. That says that it's, kind of losing momentum. There's less momentum behind this second push up right now on the 4 hour. Red dot, you got is that an engulfer? Not quite, but it might as well be. A red candle, red doji, and then the current red candle that just opened. This looks like a short setup on Hyperliquid on a 4 hour. All right, I'm gonna see what that looks like. If you entered now, stop loss above 65. And I'm sorry to be putting out a short setup if this is your, long-term hold. But you might as well make money, no matter what it does. I can see a big short here. You could take it right down to the nearest resistance and get a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. This is the 4-hour time frame. Or if it really loses that level, man, you're really coming down. Testing high volume node at 47, 49. That would be a 5-to-1, almost a 6-to-1 risk reward ratio on Hyperliquid, a short. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the smaller time frames say a different story. You know, let's see, big run up, big run up. You put in some looks like cat ears, double top, dump, almost a full measure move. Found some support here somehow, came up, bullish consolidation, lost it. Now, Stokes a reset. Stokes aren't everything, but it is reset, and it could put a green dot here. Could it be a scalp long potential, a high risk? That still looks like a bear flag a little bit right now. You got resistance right here, right in your face. That looks like a bear flag that dumps you. Bearish retest. Take it down. Dead cat bounce on an RSI. Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit bearishness on some of these medium time frames, but well, potential bearishness. Let me say that, because this is a big move up for Hyperliquid. Big move, big bullish trend, but you're just showing the first signs of change in trend by losing this moving average, and then coming to potentially test down here. All right, let's go to a small time frame, 5-minute. 200 caught up to you. You lost it. Once again, micro trend change. So I see bearishness in the small time frames and medium time frames for Hyperliquid. But I mean, on your macro, I mean, could you complain? You had a huge move up. There may be a retracement. Look at the weekly. You're at all-time highs once again. This huge candle. I wouldn't be surprised to see a red candle come in, take up a quarter of the candle, take up half of the candle, and then maybe bounce and continue to go. Consolidation on Hyperliquid. So not a good place to get into a long on the macro. Not yet, at least. I will let some consolidation happen first. Okay, maybe two more, then I got to wrap it up here, folks. Appreciate you. What do we really, really need? Spam it. What do we really need? I think we need SWE. I closed out the SWE trade, by the way, last night at break even. I had a macro SWE trade going on based on a daily and a 4-hour. It had a green dot and looked like a bottom, but it started rolling over. Here's SWE on a daily. Still not showing anything after this red candle. We'll see what this current candle does. And by the way, we just closed a candle. It's a daily candle close. That's important. That's important for Bitcoin. We got to look at that right now. 4-hour. 4-hour SWE. Right at support. Look, you see, like we lost the 200 here before. It got back up. We lost it again. We got back up. Is this the bearish retest? Did we finally lose it this time? Or is this just another bounce? Is this an imperfect double bottom bounce? The stochastics aren't reset, though, interestingly enough. Not reset. Red dot. Momentum still heading down. It's saying that SWE goes lower, based on the momentum and the stochastic. But you're at support. Small time frames. Looking a bit bearish here. Dump, dump, bear flag, rollover, dump. V-shaped recovery. This was looking good. This is when the NASDAQ opened. This was looking good. And you're technically still above it, but you're just flagging right now. We need to move from everything. We need to move or a rollover. Something is about to happen, and it's probably going to be based on what the NASDAQ does right now. Let's get back to the NASDAQ quickly. NQ. All right. All right, 5-minute time frame NASDAQ. Look at it. It's just doing damage. It's just in parabolic mode right now. Any bear div, any significant bearish divergence we should be careful of. I would expect this to start, going down at some point. Just putting that out there. There it is. There's the bear div. 5-minute, pretty clear bearish divergence. Money flow still heading up though. Yeah, money flow still heading up. But for now, it's just straight up, which is a little bit scary, honestly. It's just straight up on the NASDAQ right now, 5 minute. All right, and to wrap it up, what else, what chart do we have? Is it VVV we need to look at? Let's look at it. I saw VVV a few more times. VVV, I see bearish consolidation on the 5 minute. Did we really just do that pump with the NASDAQ open and now everything dumps? Look, that's a descending triangle below the 200 on the 5 minute. But Venice, wasn't Venice one of those coins that are opposite of Bitcoin though? You know what I mean? Bearish consolidation, that looks dumpy. That looks dumpy on the 5 minute for Venice. Yeah, that's about to dump more. Some of the medium time frames, 30 minute is reset, but I mean, you're showing no strength and no volume. So this looks bearish. I think this goes down. The macro kind of plays out a little bit more here. Maybe like you come down to the 8 hour, 21 or something like that, or maybe even a daily. You see how we're kind of way overextended on a daily. Yeah, still a big bullish move. Overall, you may have played out the entire measured move here. Bullish overall, but the small time frames and medium time frames starting to look bearish. All right. Bitcoin. She is spicy today. So far, I think all the trades we put out are still valid though. Bitcoin, we'll look at this real quick. Bitcoin still in the range, still bullishly consolidating above this previous bullish consolidation. So that trade is still valid. I can see that still playing out. And here's the Solana trade I gave out earlier, and I'm still in it, still valid. Solana is starting to pump actually, and that's some nice consolidation right there. I got to say on a 1 minute. Consolidate, ascending triangle, pump. Another consolidate, somewhat of a ascending triangle again, pump. I think the Solana trade plays out. It's interesting. One coin could be bearish, the next bullish. You just got to do what TA tells you to do. And TA is telling me to stay in this Solana trade. And I think the Bitcoin trade is still valid. All right. So once again, I appreciate you folks. We're trying something a little different today. I hope to do this a lot more. Okay. Give you some live trade setups, off hours on the weekend. So we'll look to do this more. I appreciate you tuning in. Hit the like, subscribe, especially if you're brand new. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow one way or another. Once again, trying to bring you live trade as much as we can. Okay. Be safe out there. Use responsible stop losses. All right. And if you need any exchanges, we have links in the description of the video. Break out the prop trading firm for crypto. That link is in the description for you. And also our Bitunix link is in there. We love Bitunix. We've got a trading competition going on right now. All you have to do is just join with the link and put in some volume. We're going to more of that tomorrow. I'll explain more about the trading competition. But once again, thank you so much. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Have some fun. Don't stay in the charts all weekend. Okay. And tomorrow, you know, get out there, touch some grass, you know, touch some grills, jump in the pool. Have a good Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Take care.